Good afternoon. Calling to order the Public Safety Standing Committee meeting today. It is Wednesday, November the 13th, and it's 2:22 p.m. So sorry for the delay, but we are here. Call to order, the roll call. Alderwoman Karma O'Neill.
Present.
Rhonda Pendell Charles, your chair, present. Approval of the agenda
Make a
with amendments. And I think there will be an amendment regarding ID 17224. That will be at a later meeting. And I believe that's the only amendment to the agenda. Can I get a
Move
motion?
to approve the agenda, removing ID 17224.
So move. Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. No opposition. Business and miscellaneous, approval of the minutes, PSC 9.10.24, special meeting minutes. Can I get a motion to approve the meeting minutes?
Motion to approve 9/10/24 special meeting minutes.
Second. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? I hear none. General discussion, ID 624, Annapolis Police Department APD update. And good afternoon, Chief Jackson and Captain McGuinness.
Good afternoon. I'd just like to, for the record, this, of course, everybody knows Captain Amy Miguez. She prepared a pie chart, and we're going to talk about some of the demographics with our hiring in just a minute. But also want to acknowledge the Deputy Chief Stan Branford, and behind him is Captain Lamar Howard.
And they can certainly come up front, bring a chair. That'd be great.
Yeah, you like to come on? And, you know, since the election results are pretty much in, it has, I guess, certain implications as to the administration of justice, not in the city of Annapolis, but in America. We'll be having a new Attorney General, probably a new director of the FBI. And so in Washington, the criminal justice system is going to change vastly. I preface my statement with that only because I want to assure Annapolitans that we're going to stay committed no matter what the national trend is. We're going to stay committed to community policing. We're going to stay committed to all the things that I swore to when Mayor Buckley swore me in 5 years ago as my mandate to bring community policing and constitutional-based policing to the city of Annapolis. I just want all Annapolitans to know that we're still going to police in a fair manner. We're not going to be biased. We're going to engage in good constitutional intelligence-based policing. Simply what that means is we're going to do what we've been doing since my tenure here. We're going to treat all of our citizens with dignity and respect. And if we do have to take somebody in custody, we're going to do it in line with the Constitution. You know, if we search, we're going to have probable cause. If we enter homes, it's going to be under the authority of a duly sworn judge and all the basic fundamentals that our democracy was built on. So I found the need to say that because there's a lot of anxiety centered around the change in administrations. And I'm really not talking politics. All administrations change in how they do business, but what we're committed to is what America was founded on, and that's freedom and democracy for all, you know, and that's not going to change. We're going to still continue with our programs like reentry and all the soft things we do to let the citizens know that they can have faith that the Annapolis Police Department is here to protect them. You know, our strong community outreach with all of our partners, but we're also going to hold people accountable who come in and want to destroy, you know, whether they're selling fentanyl to our kids or they're trigger pullers. We're still going to enforce the law as the law requires us to do. So I just found a need to say that. I'll be saying that when I speak publicly, that no matter what happens in Washington, D.C., everybody at this table took an oath to uphold the Constitution. Two constitutions, the Constitution of Maryland and the Constitution of the United States. And we, as the Annapolis Police Department, under my leadership, is committed to doing those two things. And so I hope that that brings some comfort. We're prepared to defend it. to all Annapolitans that my charge is to worry about Annapolis. I pray for the rest of the country, but my charge is to make sure Annapolis remains one of the best places to live and visit and, bring your family and friends to. So having said that, it's been, I think, demographically a very steady year. I'm very proud of recruitment. Captain Miguez oversaw the rearrangement of many of our offices and headquarters on 199 Taylor Avenue to make the operation more efficient. If she wants to talk about that, she can. But everybody is with their commanders, so to speak. So, for example, across the hall from me is Kalia and recruitment. Two things that are near and dear to my heart, and the things that keeps me out of trouble politically and otherwise. And we're making progress with Kalia, good progress with Kalia. So every day I get the opportunity, if I need to, instead of running around the building, I have all my Kalia people right there to update me on our progress. And the second part of it is recruitment, something that's near and dear to my heart. And as you'll see, the pie chart that Captain Miguez, or the graph that she, well, the pie chart's easier for me to read, but that's due to lack of my training. But the graph or the pie chart continues to show the diversity in the Annapolis Police Department, the diversity that I think everybody at this table is proud of. You won't find a more diverse department anywhere when you look at the demographics of, and then of course on the slide, the APD sworn demographics, and that gives a period of from 2009 to 2024. It shows a lot of progress when you really look at it. Of course, we still continues to face the challenge of recruitment, and at sometimes certain periods retention. Although retention is easier than recruitment. Most people who come here, officers, men and women, come here to serve in a sworn or civilian capacity, like it here, and remain with us for a long time. But, it's still a concern, retention for a lot of reasons, salaries, bigger opportunities, et cetera. But recruitment remains our biggest challenge to attract people to want to come into law enforcement. Okay, we had 16 sworn hires in 2024, that's year to date, 8 lateral officers and 8 entry-level officers. 3 have left employment already, 2 entry-level and 1 lateral. 10 total sworn officers have left in 2024, 4 to retirements, 2 lateral to other agencies, and then another 6 are expected to retire before the end of 2024. And then just to give you some examples, a couple of those are from DROP. 5 are from the DROP program, primarily from the DROP program, the Deferred Retirement Option Plan, for those who may not know what DROP, the acronym DROP is about. And so, it's a very young department, so it's rare that since I've been here, the 5 years I've been here, that people run the course over a 25-year period because we're so young. But that's significant to lose another 6, but they're for good reasons. And then I don't know if the demographics play out. Of course, we've had a couple of hearing boards this year, and they had certain implications as to whether people stayed. Most of them were resignations before they faced any type of misconduct. And we're very vigilant to make sure that those people are weeded out in compliance with the Police Accountability Act of 2021. Okay, in 2024, hiring, here's the fun part, year to date. We hired 15 men and 1 woman, but we graduated a couple of women from the academy that were hired in late 2023. We graduated 3 and 3 women in 2024, but they were hired right before the holiday season in 2023. So we had 15 men and 1 woman, 12.5% other, 18.8% Hispanic, 31.3% white, and 37.5%, that may be a record, African Americans were hired in the year 2024. Anything else to add to that? But if you look at the pie chart, our biggest hiring percentage was African Americans. Beyond that, I don't, anything? Anything, we still, like I said, committed to that. We've enjoyed a tremendous amount of success on our enforcement side with our federal partners, Captain Howard. Captain Howard and his detectives have done a wonderful job in dismantling. I think we had 14 targets who meant the city no harm. I mean, meant the city no good, I'm sorry, meant the city harm. I'm sorry, meant the city no good. They're all in federal custody, charged with various charges under the racketeering statute, RICO, racketeering influence, corrupt organizations at the federal level, and are currently awaiting trial. Also, on the 23rd of this month, right before Thanksgiving, we're going to have the gun turn-in again. You may have seen the VMI signs on Rowell Boulevard. I'm proud of myself. I didn't call it Rove Boulevard, Madam Chair, on Rowell Boulevard. She always corrects me. Rowell Boulevard, the VMI sign, and we're asking citizens to replicate the efforts that took place earlier this year when we had 53 guns and a hand grenade turned in. And so we're excited from a public safety standpoint that we'll have the same type of success with the gun turn-in that we had earlier this year. And again, that takes place on November 23rd. It'll probably be the same setup that was last time. You know, just come in and turn in the guns. We'll render it safe. If citizens have a gun that they don't know how to operate, we're asking that they call us and we'll come to their home to render it safe before transport. We don't want citizens to try to render a gun safe if they are not proficient with its handling. So, you know, we're asking, and we'll put out some type of a press release to emphasize that point, that if you have a gun to turn in, don't be deterred by the fact that you don't know how to unload the gun and render it safe. If you want to turn it in, but you don't know how, or you're very uneasy or don't know how to handle it, just give us a call and we'll send somebody out immediately to take possession of the gun for you and render it safe. So that's pretty much a quick overview of everything that we're embarking upon in 2024. We're very excited for 2025. I project it's going to be a good year. It's going to be a continuation of a lot of the initiatives that was put in place. And, you know, we're still looking forward to continuing to fill the vacancies and bring in good people that can help us achieve that.
Thank you, Chief. Alderwoman O'Neill.
Thank you. I do have a couple of questions. Thank you very much for that. It's nice to see that diversity being hired, which is really amazing. A question that came up about that is that I was talking with a group of people, and they had said that they thought that there was a pretty large increase in African-American police out on the street because that is all they're seeing. Is that a little bit on purpose for neighborhoods when you're doing patrols to have?
Well, I mean, it is and it isn't. And I don't mean to answer the question very vaguely. Of course, we're looking for qualified African Americans, especially in neighborhoods where they're relatable, you know, culturally. And that's a good thing. But we set out to get the best candidates who happen to be African American at this time. I always tell my deputy chief, and I tell my commanders that I want my officers to be in all neighborhoods. So I'll clarify that too. I mean, we want them in challenged and underserved neighborhoods because a lot of times they're relatable. But we also want them in Eastport. We want them in downtown. We want them on King George. We want them everywhere because they're good ambassadors. And I think that's what makes the department special when you have that kind of diversity. The department still remains majority Caucasian, but the numbers have increased tremendously with African-American participation. In fact, I would argue, without sounding like a political figure, I have one in mind, toot my own horn all the time, but I've gotten a lot of positive feedback when I go out. We just did it the other day. And I'm not talking about just African-American officers, I'm talking about the diversity. Everybody's marveling at the diversity of the Annapolis Police Department. You see African-Americans, you see African-American women. You see everybody, and I think that's good for the city. It's good for public relations. It's just good to set the tone to say that, hey, we as a city we're inclusive of everybody. So I hope it answers your question. I wasn't trying to dodge it.
It does, thank you. And I will say, I think her title is Officer Smirkle is like Belinda the Good Witch whenever she goes out in the neighborhood. Is that?
Oh, yes. Smichael, yeah.
Smichael.
Yes, Smichael. Yes, Smichael.
So that's a great thing. We love her.
Yes, exactly. And it's good for young people, too, in recruitment, because I know as a 65-year-old police chief, I remember when the profession was definitely, even in Baltimore, white male dominated. But now kids are born, I don't know what you call them, Generation Xers, or I don't even know what they are now. I don't know where we're at now. But
What are we, Amy?
Alpha.
Alpha?
yeah, I mean,
Starting alphabetic.
everybody's young. I was just reading that the vice president was born in 1984. I was a policeman in 1984. The vice president of the United States was born in 1984. I have a son older than that. And so I'm just thinking everybody's young now. But the point that I'm making is that young people, whether they're white or black, they don't have that same baggage. They just get along,
Yeah.
and I think that part of America is undertold. You can get two officers, one white, one black, and they don't have that for, by and large, they don't. There's always exceptions to that, but they don't have the issues of race. It's just the hip hop generation. It's just the younger people, and they come and they get along. And it's great to see. We enjoy that in Annapolis, so I hope it continues.
Yeah,
And I
that's a
hope
great
it's diversity,
culture.
yeah. And I just wanted to clarify the women, because you see 15 men and one woman, that looks, and it kind of got me at first, but then I realized we graduated 3 women who were hired this time last year who just got out of the academy. So we're still actively recruiting women to come in, and we need more to wear bars like Captain Miguez. Not only do we want them here, we want them to start ascending into leadership positions.
Yes. Good, thank you. One other question I had from a constituent, well, I have 2 more questions, but one was about the drug drop-off box that used to be in the police department. Is that back yet, or will it be back?
No, ma'am, I like to see it back. I believe last time it was some logistic and safety issues.
Yeah.
And so, and that's been continued, so it's a regulation thing, but to answer your question, I would love to have it back. And hopefully, when we get those things worked out, we can bring it back. I just don't know when, I don't have a timeline. But the only reason why it was taken out of the law, because see, right now, we got to worry about the elephant in the room is this fentanyl. And so if somebody finds something on the street and they bring it in, or any other, there's a lot of other substances that are very dangerous to be around, and we just didn't have the structure in the building to accommodate that safely. And so, the 3 things that I think that we should have, and we have two of them, that's a venue to turn in weapons. We should have it for drugs, and I love the green box where citizens can come, and if you buy something on Amazon or eBay and you want to exchange, you want to sell something in a safe zone, or when parents are no longer together and they want to exchange children, we have all of that on the lot. But the one thing we have to work on and perfect is our ability to collect drugs and substances, and hopefully we'll announce at some future date that that program is back up and running again. The other 2 are, but we want to add that back.
Great, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
And then my last one is not so serious, but the sign on Taylor Avenue. Do we know when that's going to be fixed?
No, I just told you, what, 2 days ago, I saw that, and it's not funny, but I saw that. I was delighted. The only reason why I chuckled, because I was delighted to see that Joe Johnson, Chief Joe Johnson, who's a mentor and a friend, I saw that the sign was still intact. The actual sign is still intact, so we don't even have to replace that. Apparently, when the accident occurred, it damaged the frame that holds it in, so we don't have to wait for a sign. I believe we can reinsert the sign in. And I know that we're going to get another sign.
Captain has been working on that.
So part of the issue with the sign is it involves not just the police department. It's not because it's a fixture, central services or public works, which is part of the issue, because that's been kind of up in the air, is part of the working together can be making things a little longer. And the other thing is while we were taking the opportunity of having the sign needing to be replaced, the thought of including the Office of Emergency Management on the signage, which wasn't before, so people aren't confused when they come in the lot looking for the Office of Emergency Management. And then also maybe the opportunity to have a sign that can display a changeable message. We used to have an old school sign with letters that you put up. And so we were hoping maybe we could do that, because both the police department and the Office of Emergency Management have important safety messages that we can put out. So given those factors, and then the factor of including Public Works and or Central Services, has made it a lengthier process to get it fixed. But it was struck by a vehicle, so part of the cost will be covered by that vehicle's insurance.
The blue Corvette.
Yeah, but it'll be up and running, and I guess we should get a spotlight on the building. That still says Joseph Johnson, so we put a spotlight.
And the sign should say it.
And the sign should say it, but it'll be up. But I was delighted to see that the actual sign itself, I thought the whole thing was damaged. But I saw in the garage where the sign is still intact. It's the frame that has to be replaced. And you had advised me, the deputy chief had advised me that Captain Miguez was taking charge to make a sign to do exactly what she just stated, to give out public safety tips, let people know the OEM is on that same parking lot at the other end of the building, so there wouldn't be any confusion. So we don't have a projected date for that, but hopefully in 2025, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully sometime in 2025, we'll come back and say it's up and running.
Great. Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
That's the end of my question.
All right, thank you, Alderwoman O'Neill. Just a few things. Talking about the diversity, and one personal story comes to mind. When I was in Baltimore City in the state's attorney's office, as a prosecutor, I was asked one day to go up to lockup to calm down a skinhead. And my thought was, how do I calm down a skinhead? That's not happening. Mm-hmm. So I sent one of the prosecutors who was from Western Maryland, who was white, and I asked him, would he go upstairs up to lock up and talk to the gentleman? And he did, and inside of 10 minutes, the problem was solved. And that's when you realize, in some instances, especially in that instance, you needed somebody who could communicate with that person clearly. I mean, sending me up there would have been a waste of time, for sure. Right. And I would have only exacerbated the whole situation. Right. But when we talk about the diversity, it's on a multitude of levels. And it depends on what the issue is, what the situation is, what we're trying to accomplish. And so thank you so much for that explanation. So we all keep that in mind as to, and that's what we want. We want a diverse group of officers. And that's really, really important. So that's something that really stuck out in my mind. Like I said, it wouldn't make any sense for me going up there, but I sent him there, and he took care of it immediately. So,
well, the best example is the language issue. We have several officers who speak fluent Spanish. We have at least 2 who speak fluent Arabic, and I know we have at least 2 that speak Mandarin. And so we have Asians, Hispanics, and or Latinos and Latinas, and then we have Arabic. Of course, Rob Horn is the most visible with the reentry program, and he's African American. He went over to Egypt to study Arabic, and he learned it. You know, he's from West Baltimore, and he took an interest in the culture, and of course converted to the religion, and he learned how to speak several dialects of Arabic. And we have one other former detective in Baltimore who lateraled here, who speaks a couple of different dialects of Arabic too. So those are 3 languages that that we speak here in the city of Annapolis. So we keep it up, we'll be on par with the State Department in terms of our diversity, and that's the best example I can give. But you're right, even the example you gave, and so many benefits when you have a diverse police department.
And I'm going to give a shout out to that officer because he heads up our reentry program.
Yes.
Officer Horn.
Officer Horn.
So he's the one
Yes.
speaks a variety of languages. So that's really a testimony to our police department as well. I'm not going to put you on the spot, Chief, but I'm going to ask you a question. If you can answer it, fine. If not, that's okay. Do you have any idea, and I didn't ask you this ahead of time, when we might be back with Kalia? I'm not trying to.
No, it's not on the spot. It's not on the spot.
Somebody did ask me that in the community.
Yes, ma'am, and it's not on the spot. We should have, and we thought we could do it in a closed session, and I didn't talk to Carrie about that, you know, because I know that the Open Meetings Act comes into play to get the entire council together. But we want to do a update with Kalia. We're doing very well. I get updates all the time. I'm even learning parts of it that I didn't know. As the chief of police, I'm learning parts of it that I didn't know. So at some point, we just have to coordinate that. I'll talk to Carrie and talk to the council, and maybe we can do a Zoom or a closed session and do a few at a time and kind of give you a clear update. We have a PowerPoint that she showed us. And I'm trying not to laugh because I'm a stickler for English, and it was an old PowerPoint that we had, and we cleaned it up very nicely and made sure that it's scholarly and it reads. This is still talking clear. We're making sure that the language is scholarly. The content was good. We just wanted to make sure that the language was strengthened and more in line with, and it's nothing that Kalia required us to do. It's us showing the public how the process works. Let me clear that up too. And I don't know if that's a clear standard, but it's our standard to make sure that when people want to know about Kalia and what it all entails, then we're now prepared to show them a PowerPoint with the overall process. And then that'll be, I think it's Melanie working with Kayla. Yeah, Melanie and Kayla. Melanie is a sworn member who's on light duty status, and she has a graduate degree and that related, and her master's degree is related to stats and all that kind of stuff. And then of course we have Kayla, who is pursuing her master's in social work, and they make a great team. And it's overseen by Lieutenant Hill, who does all of our educational stuff now. And so we're coming along very well. Our policies now reflect Kalia. We've gotten the proofs in that we needed to get in. The proofs being, once we say we're going to do something, then we have to be able to document the fact that we did it, whether it's through our policy, whether it's through our structure. And so there's very few challenges. So I expect it to be in compliance, back in compliance very soon.
Okay. All right. Thank you. The other thing is, too, as you recall, we set aside some money in the budget, the Annapolis United money for Protect and Serve. And I know we've gone a mini hiatus with that, but that would be good to return to that. I know we've had a lot of other things going on our plates, and that seemed to be well received by the community. So just looking forward to coming back to doing some episodes of protect and serve?
Well, I think one of the things that I wanted to do, and to your point, and along those lines, not only protect and serve, but at some point I want to get back out in the community and do the talks that we started when I first came here.
Correct.
And COVID kind of disrupted those talks. And I think that the first couple that we did do was extremely well received. Remember, we did the one at St. Martin's,
Right.
on Hilltop, and we did a couple other ones, and they were very, very well received. And matter of fact, I do go out occasionally, and people still remember that from almost 5 years ago. Hey, Chief, you know what you haven't doing, and I quickly tell them, and it's truthful that the momentum was taken away when the pandemic hit and everything.
Because that was
shut down.
February of 2020, and then the pandemic hit March of 2020.
That's exactly
So you
right,
only
and then
had
we never
opportunity to do
recovered
one.
from them. Yes, ma'am. But I like to go back out again. I know Bishop or Apostle Coates and I did a couple. We did the one at the Dunkin' Donuts that was live streamed, and a couple of mini ones since then. But we haven't had the forums that we had before. So I like to get back out in line with Protect and Serve, and we'll get back to those. And then actually going back to venues. This time, it doesn't have to be the Ed Jackson show. It could be highlighting all of the command staff. Captain Howard, Captain Miguez, and the deputy chief have a lot to say too.
Certainly.
So I want the public to know this is the team. I don't do it all myself, but I have a great team and others who are not here today to help make this run. So we'll work on that, and we're going to try to start those back up in 2025.
Okay.
It'd be nice to do one before the holiday season. This is an interesting holiday season. And,
That is true.
Yeah.
We used to do, and this was all during kind of that time period, Spotlight and Did You Know, and we were bringing those on board and getting just tidbits from the different departments, public safety departments, as to what they were doing, highlighting people or highlighting things that we didn't know. And then COVID again came to pass, and we couldn't continue those. So just some other little tidbits. And I think going into 2025, I think a lot of times our specific wards like to kind of see or hear what exactly the numbers look like in their ward, crime numbers or whatever else there is. So that might be something that we might want to take on as well, to kind of go ward specific. I know OEM does that and gives us our reports monthly. And it's really, really helpful to see where the overdoses are, where they're happening, what the age limit is, the time of day, time of night. Is it on the street? Is it in the residence? I'm not asking you all to get that specific, but it's really helpful to hear from them those figures and those numbers. So however you can break them down, but we can talk about that later. But just to kind of think that we could do that even in this forum at our public safety meeting, because I know that's probably something that Ms. Seborowski will be enlightening us on, if not today, then other days as we move along. And so, but no, I think that's really helpful when different wards can see and hear what their ward is doing, but what other wards are doing as well, and how you're breaking that down. So we can kind of integrate all those different factors. And like you said, that was maybe about 2 or 3 years ago, we had Ward 8 come down to OEM and gave us, I think it was 2 to 3 hours. We had the Caucus of African American Leaders and NAACP doing the same thing, and that was 2 or 3 hours. I think you had WARA, Ward 1 Residents Association. So I think all of those venues, because if we look back on the resource fairs that we had, especially last summer when we took the surveys, that's really what people were asking for. Let's hear and let's see what's really going on in our own wards and what's going on also in other wards, but particularly in those that they live in. And they want to know more community outreach, more community engagement, those kinds of things. And that those pieces of information ebb and flow as we go along. So we never can do enough community outreach. There's always a sense that we can do more, but in different formats, different venues. I think it's really helpful, and I think it would really be well received by those in the public.
Oh, I agree on so many levels. That's really, I've been asked a number of times, what is community policing? If you have to put it in a definition, then you don't know what community policing is. It's a philosophy. So, when you talk, people should know that you're engaging in community policing. It's like if you have faith in God, you shouldn't have to say, I have faith in God. People should be able to tell by your light that you're a man or a woman of faith just by the way you talk. If you have to tell them that, then I question it. It should emanate from you, a part of your countenance and who you are as a being. So all those things we're going to try to do and get back on track with our community policing model. And not only that, but like you said, let the wards know how safe they are and demystify what we're doing. I've been trying to do that since I've been here. Our federal partnerships, asking the feds to come and spend time with us, walk with us sometimes, put your FBI jacket on and walk with us so the community knows that we are partnering with law enforcement beyond our state partners too, state police, and they've all been very, very accommodating. I'm very proud of the relationship that the Annapolis Police Department has with our federal and state partners. I like to take it a step further and maybe have a forum where the FBI can come in and talk about the things they can. A lot of that stuff is confidential, but they can talk about some things. They have community outreach themselves, the FBI does. Their Baltimore field office has community outreach, and the problem is that the public doesn't know that, and so they're underserved. The public's underserved by the fact that they don't have anybody to reach out. And then the last thing I was going to say along those lines is that me, Director Simmons, and Chief Ramali, we're working on, headed by the Deputy Chief, we're working on interviewing the candidates so we can get them hired for public information. Because the public information officer has to do more than just put out daily reports. They have to be able to organize and tell the story of public safety, not just the APD, but OEM and fire service. Tell the story about what's going on in Annapolis. So we have, I think, 4 candidates. No, more than that. I know that you're not prepared to.
So it's a process for us when it comes to hiring because of our background checks that we have to do. So there's a couple that have been responsive and a couple more that haven't been as responsive. So we're moving forward on the ones that have been responsive.
Captain Miguez, I think you did writing samples for him, and
We are going to.
I'm going to do writing samples in partnership with the mayor's office with Mitchell to do writing samples. Law enforcement, this writing samples period. We can always tell them to give them the content. We just want to make sure that they understand subject verb agreement and punctuation and all that kind of stuff. So we're working on that now.
Thank you, Chief. It's 3:00 and we've got another 30 minutes. So I think we're concluding here, but we're going to do some more. We're going to increase it a bit as we move along in 2025. I think starting the year off, people need to know and people want to know. And I know that's the direction we should move in. And we've had many conversations with police, fire, and Office of Emergency Management as to getting the word out and letting people know exactly what we're doing. But thank you all so much again, so very much, Captain Howard, Deputy Chief Branford, Chief Jackson, as well as Captain Miguez. You all enjoy the rest of your day, and I'm going to call the next ID 6724, Annapolis Fire Department AFD update.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
You're welcome, man. Thank you.
All right, Deputy Chiefs, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Matthew Lopez, Deputy Chief of Administration for Annapolis Fire Department.
Deputy Chief Nathan Powell, Operations.
All right. It's so good to have you all here today. We welcome you all times, and you can proceed with your presentation.
Thank you. On behalf of Fire Chief O'Malley, we come here to give you a brief update. Per the Fire Chief, this last month of October, we responded to 1,155 emergency responses, of which 872 were EMS related, 267 were fire related, 10 were rescues, no hazardous materials responses, and 6 service calls. October 6th through 12th was National Fire Prevention Week. The theme was smoke alarms, make them work for you. The department participated in several community education events. October is also Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and our personnel were authorized to wear department-approved T-shirts promoting awareness. Recruit classes, we had 4 firefighter paramedic recruits, 3 men and 1 woman, graduate from the Anne Arundel County Fire Academy. They were recruit class 64 on October 29. And we had 3 firefighter recruits start in the Prince George's County Academy. We currently have 2 women who remain and 1 male. Additionally, they will be graduating soon. Finally, the Maryland Department of Environment provided department-wide training on lithium-ion battery fires to the fire department. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Alderwoman O'Neill.
I do not have any questions, but I touted very happily. Apparently, last night's fire, you all arrived before the caller finished answering the questions on the phone. And so all over social media last night, I said, woohoo.
Thank you. We appreciate that. It was good timing. It was a tragedy averted. If Alderman Pindell-Charles, if you're not familiar, it was on Conduit Street. That's the incident you're referring to.
Yeah.
Someone had a fire in the fireplace, and an ember came out of the chimney and ignited leaves in the rain gutter of the adjacent house. So we know our historic district's special to us. Well, the whole city's special to us, but they were certainly right on top of that and made quick work of that.
Yeah. So we continue to appreciate the fast responses of our fire department, and we'll work vigilantly to keep it all in the city so that we continue to see that nice response time and everything else from you all. Thank you.
Thanks. We appreciate your continued support.
And I'm not sure if you were involved or not, but it's a very belated shout out. This summer, Eastport Firehouse supported our Food Fridays program on Fridays. And I know that the firefighters that were there during the day got a lot of ice cream because we don't send ice cream in our boxes. But we appreciated the help, and we got to know a few as they were coming and going, and hopefully we were good leasers of the space. And if we have to do it again, that's exactly where my folks want to go. They loved it. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right.
That's it.
Thank you. And you know, we all collectively too often are critical of a lot of things that go on. And sometimes we need to take a step back and take a look at what really is going on and thank the people who are responsible. And see, you all in many ways are your own worst enemy. You do it flawlessly. And people expect that all of the time. And we do get it all of the time. And so, you know, I hate to say it, but we look around the world at what's going on. And by golly, here in Annapolis, and I'm only going to speak for Annapolis at this point, we're really blessed. We really, truly are. And that's the message I give to folks. Look what's going on around the world. Now, what have we got to really complain about when all is said and done? There are things to complain about. We're not perfect people. We don't make perfect decisions. Nobody's perfect. We're imperfect people, so therefore there are times we're going to make imperfect decisions. But as a whole, I think we do a great job. And I mentioned it last night, the 2024 City Annual Report reflects all the great things that are happening in this city. And I think, we as a council, we get criticized at times, but we're all part of what's being done that's good. And so we take the credit, sure we should, and we all do, staff and us, take the credit in what goes well. And we're going to take some of the blame when things don't. But when we criticize our own grouping and our own departments, then that's a reflection on us. Then we're not doing our job. And so I think, and we need to say it more, to say thank you. It's a tough job, and I've said it many times, and I talked about it before you all came to the front, we were in the back. If there are times that we don't have legislation, but we need to get out information, we'll have the meetings. But we're much better served in many instances with you all being out there in the communities, doing the work that needs to be done. And so that's how I see it, and that's me speaking. But I thank you all so much for doing something that's a lot of people wouldn't dare do or wouldn't even want to do and wouldn't even be good at doing. So thank you all again so very much for what you do each and every day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
All right.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, the last item on the agenda is ID 824, Annapolis Office of Emergency Management Department OEM update. Ms. Seborowski. Oh, the one thing before you go, gentlemen, from the fire department, this isn't necessarily a suggestion, but as I said, indicated to police as well, and OEM does a good job. I don't know if you've all ever considered kind of breaking your numbers down by ward. That might be something that we might want to consider.
We'll work on that. We'll work
Okay.
on that GIS data capture.
Yeah, that would be great. And that way we have some semblance of, and people can see what's actually happening in their own wards. That would be great.
Sure.
Okay, we might try that for the December meeting.
Okay.
Okay, thanks so much again.
All right, afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Mary Kate Seborowski. I'm the Senior Emergency Management Planner for the Office of Emergency Management. I know we're on a time crunch today, so I'm going to try to keep it quick. Our update for the department today is going to focus on winter weather preparedness and some resources for everybody. So this morning, OEM and Public Works delivered our annual winter weather tune-up presentation to the department heads. So this is a comprehensive training that allows everybody to have a refresher on all of the emergency support functions and review those snow and winter related plans. So that way, if we do need to execute them this winter season, everybody's fully prepared and capable to do so. Last night, we had our first warming center activation of the season. The warming center is a emergency and temporary absolute last resort for individuals so that they don't die or have any other medical conditions as a result of being exposed to cold weather. So we had 10 patrons utilize this service last night. And then OEM collaborated with Public Works, IT, and other departments to bring a program called Snowpaths to the city. So this is a GPS tracking system, and it provides real-time updates on road salting and snowplow operations during emergencies. So they're looking to roll that out within the coming weeks. And so we are letting everybody know that if they want any more information or if they have questions, that they can go to the website for this. So www.annapolis.gov/snowpaths. And then we also just want to make sure that the community is prepared for anything that could come their way this winter season. So one of our mottos is always make a plan, build a kit, and be informed. So taking that and then putting it into perspective for this winter season, for make a plan, just make sure that everybody in your family knows what to do in case of an emergency and review those plans with them and then practice them routinely. For building a kit, make sure that you have a custom go bag that works for you and your family, and remember to update that seasonally. I think a lot of people forget to update it seasonally, and with this winter weather season, you might need it in your car, at home, or in your vehicle. So just make sure that you have all of the essentials that you would need in that situation. And then for being informed, there's a couple different ways where you can go to get official information. So the first one is opting into Alert Annapolis. This is our community notification system, and then it allows you to receive messages based on your personal preference. So text messages, emails, phone calls, and then in extreme cases, voicemail as well. We also encourage people to download the Prepare Me Annapolis app. So it provides push notifications to your phone in the event we have an incident or anything like that that might impact your day-to-day. And in that app, we also have additional resources for your personal preparedness. And then also information and resources for situational awareness as well. There's tons of links to great community resources. And there's options in there to actually help you and guide you through building your own custom go bag and emergency kit. So those are things that we don't really talk about that the app can do. So just encouraging people to utilize that resource as well. And then make sure that you're looking at official sources when you're trying to make plans and, maintaining your situational awareness. So a couple big things is for this winter season, make sure you're following the National Weather Service. BG&E, making sure that you know where to go for power outage information and the outage map, and then following our public safety team on social media, and then following the city's social media page in general. So we have all of these resources and more information on our departmental website. So that's the annapolis.gov/OEM. So that'll be the main landing page, and that'll take you to a bunch of other information and resources.
Thank
So
you.
that's all I have for today.
One question, www.annapolis.snow,
Annapolis.gov/snowpaths.
P-A,
SNOWPATHS.
P-A-T-H-S.
Yep.
Snow paths, okay, all right, that's what I needed, I'm sorry. Alderwoman O'Neill.
And that is also on that links to the Public Works page as well.
Oh, okay,
So if you
thank
ever
you.
need to know where to find it, you can navigate through Public Works to get to that page.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Do you have any updates on hiring in the department?
Yep, so we're currently conducting interviews right now. We've had a lot of good candidates come through, so I think they're in the final stages of that HR hiring process now. We still have a couple vacancies. We have had the highest record of applicants so far, so that's very encouraging. And we're just making sure that we're taking the time to go through and make sure that we're vetting everybody and finding the best fit for the office. So more updates to come hopefully shortly.
Great. Thank you so much.
Yep.
I'm going to follow that up with, speaking of a great department, you all have been phenomenal. So much so until you're down several persons. You all do a great job of training, and those persons that are hired go off to higher positions. And that's a commendation to our Office of Emergency Management. But on the flip side, we lose a lot of great people, and we have talked about that before, but we're going to definitely look into that to see what we can do from not only a hiring level, but from a financial level, because that's extraordinarily important. We pride ourselves on that, and I'm sure when people go for interviews that we have hired and go for interviews to higher positions in other places, when they see that they've come from the Annapolis Office of Emergency Management, that's a huge selling point. And so, again, we're our own worst enemy, but it's a good / bad place to be. But oftentimes, and as my dad used to say, you can't go in a steakhouse with hot dog money. If you want quality, you got to pay for it, period. Because people will find other places. And this is today Rhonda's soapbox. And nobody has to respond to it at all. But we need to do a better job of that, of retention. And we talked about that earlier. People love us. They love working for us. They love working in our Office of Emergency Management Department. But there's a disconnect when it comes to retention and when it comes to salary. And so that's something on our radar. The council is well aware of it, and that's something we need to do, again, a better job at it. Don't need to comment at all. Thank you, Ms. Seborowski.
Thank you, appreciate it.
as always.
And thank you for waiting for me. I hope you won the game.
We have Ms. Carrie Berger, who's our Assistant City Attorney, who's assigned to Public Safety Committee. Ms. Berger, do you have anything to say today? Okay. But anyway.
Going first next time.
Well, we can, yes, we can rotate it around. That sounds good. Oh, first in the game. Okay, got it. But anyway, Alderwoman O'Neill, any parting words?
Yep, I'm all set.
Nothing parting. Okay, all right. I think we have reached the end of our agenda.
Motion to adjourn?
So moved. Second? Second here. Everybody say aye. Aye. I hear no negatives. Meeting adjourned.